Herr Pike is ready.
You're on.
All right, Tuesday, January 23rd, I'd like to open the Selectmen's meeting, call to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Beautiful. First on the agenda is approval of the December 26th draft minutes.
I'm gonna move their approval.
I have changes. Go to page 3, under signature file. 1, 2, third paragraph down, it's Selectmen Murray, Murray. Go to the back page. Paragraph just above Town Administrator and Selectmen's update is Gordon Hunt, not Hine. And it's Betty Gunrid. Drop down 1 to 2 to the third paragraph of the Town Administrator and Selectmen is Kemp Merrow, Merrow Vista. Drop to the next paragraph, and I would say that it should read Tuftonboro residents attending Wolfboro programs, not camps. I hope my other selectmen are in agreement with me on that, because that's really what it is. That's what I had for changes.
Then I'll move the minutes with changes.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye. All right, then we have a non-public from December 26th. I personally would move to accept them as written.
A second.
Um,
Do these need to remain,
okay. I thought we had some discussion during this about making the donations a dollar amount versus an hourly amount, an hour's amount.
That's true, we did. But I'm not sure that we came to a conclusion.
I thought we did.
The town administrator would probably have that in her minutes.
I thought we did as well. So can we hold these until we go into non-public and we can make changes?
I see no reason why we can't, so we will. Moving right ahead. We have our building inspector here for his 23 year-end update. Let us have it, Jack.
124 building permits, 40 new houses, and I did 840 inspections.
80 new houses?
40.
40.
And so far this year, there was 8 building permits, 3 new houses, and 36 inspections. And I noticed they took your chairs. They had 3 padded chairs right there.
Yeah. We don't deserve that.
And they had one over there too. And they
Came in the stall.
robbed them.
So
Thanks for thinking.
I was talking to Susan yesterday.
Yeah.
About proposed changes to the hearing. You already, or the planning board already had a public hearing.
They did, and I wasn't here. And I mentioned some of the issues I had with it to them.
They cannot change the language
Right.
after the public hearing without having another public hearing.
Right.
So I think that, I don't know if they've arranged a meeting, but they need to meet and decide whether to put the house forward without the changes and subject themselves to the slings and arrows of litigation, or whether to try to change the language. But I don't think they have,
I don't have time.
I don't think they have notice time to make it happen. So it may be better to not do that section.
Just leave it out. If you
Yeah, just exit out.
Yeah, right.
So,
It's just the way it was written, it's just not gonna work. It should,
Well, it's
the
really-
impervious surface part
it's really unclear because every single driveway
is. Correct, that's the issue.
in
I have with my
Tuftonboro
It's
goes
imper-
over wetlands.
Mine does.
Everybody says
Right.
because the creation of the ditch is
Right,
the
yeah,
creation of
right, yeah.
wetland.
To a
So,
point.
well, talk to DES.
Yeah,
any drop of water creates a wetland,
Right.
so. I mean, I think we have to be clear about it. when
yeah,
we-
so I told them, I said exclude driveways on that, it'll be fine. But, you know, you have a minimum impact of wetlands crossing for a driveway, and now that driveway's gonna be 25 feet away from the wetlands.
Yeah.
So now you get a major impact because you're gonna keep filling.
Well, so at any rate, I think that was my advice, and I didn't
Yeah.
ask my brothers to.
And then the ADU part, I have an issue with that too, just because it's already in the state rules, and we allow 2 dwellings per property. So it's not really gonna work that well because of the state rules, because the homeowner has to live in the property. If you have 2 dwellings per property, the homeowner's not living in both. So it's safe, all the property.
Well, we know what happens when you have a poorly written ordinance and it gets voted on. We've had that experience in the past.
Yes.
So I think eliminating it would be the way to go.
Right.
And avoid more complications down the line.
Yeah, especially when you get into subdivisions.
Right.
You know, that guy's got a bunch of money invested, wants to make a bunch of lots, it's not gonna, you know, that sort of.
I don't have a copy of that. You know, the other thing I can say is it was put out there. We had multiple meetings on it, we had a public hearing.
And I brought it to their attention, Suzanne, Gary's, back when, and I wasn't around for the public hearing, I wasn't around for the meeting down there. Originally, so,
I knew nothing of any objections.
I just wanna put it out there in a recorded meeting that pasting on a except for driveways correction on that is not good enough. Can't change the language
Yeah,
after a public hearing without another public hearing.
Right. Well, if it's any consolation, any of these changes are appealable to the
correct, but that's not an answer.
ZBA. No, but it's a Band-Aid, and maybe the answer would happen one of 2 ways. Either it doesn't get voted,
Right.
or we correct it next year.
Right.
And just work with the Band-Aid for a
See
year.
what happens.
Well, that was what your planning board's consultant.
Right, that's what she told me,
That's
I
what she
talked to her,
said.
she said, oh, it
Lay it out.
was there, it's happening on you.
I mean, I guess it's my personal opinion that being stupid isn't a good idea. I think if the thing isn't gonna work, and just don't do it.
Right.
Do it right the next time. 1 year's worth of not having that
Right,
out there is not gonna change the world. It's actually, it's gonna be just exactly how it's been for the last 40 years. It's meant to be. And you're the member, so whatever they want to do.
I'm in agreement with Chip. If you'd like to pass that on, that'd be wonderful.
Could I have a written objection, some detailed objection, somebody?
Sure. Yeah, I can put that in.
Yeah, please.
Do we wanna, I can do that today and Ken type it up and we can vote on it later.
Sure.
Do that.
It sounds fine to me. Avoid complications and trouble at all costs. Just cost the town money for attorney's fees and other things.
We're having a hard enough time getting money over the budget money. We don't need to increase our legal.
It's not good. All right, thank you, Jack.
okay,
Appreciate it. Next up is our highway monthly update, which I doubt we're gonna get since he's sick.
It's good. I think we just violated HIPAA.
So,
I would, but I don't know your mailing on this.
box 208, Senate Dunborough, 03816, 208. All right, now we have an interim here. We could probably look at some signatures while we have that time. First up, we have a boat permit agent application for Lanes End Marina. Take a motion to award that.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Following up in the same vein, we have the same type of application for Melbourne Village Marina. And now we'll make a motion to sign that. Second, everybody? Anybody? All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have a request to appoint Susan Burnside to the planning board.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the rest of the signature file is going to have to be done in non-public. So we've knocked out as much as we can. Just good. Okay. All back together. And we could move into action item. First thing up is a municipality certificate of authority from our town clerk. I'm not sure why we have this since she had to sign it.
I think she needs a motion for permission to sign it.
Well, I would make a motion in a moment after my fellow selectmen have had a chance to look that over.
You don't know how much the grant is for.
No. We need to have.
So there's a grant from the Department of Natural and Cultural Resources to supplement our volunteer fire department.
Yes, but
And we have to resolve that you can sign for it.
yeah. Let's look at that. We can resolve that at any point in time. While Bob's looking, we also have a notice from the police chief that suggests that Shirley Lane be posted with a 30-mile-an-hour regulatory signs compliant with state regulations. You can vote to authorize him to do that if we'd like.
So moved.
I'll second Bob's comment. Interesting.
What is it?
The chief recommends that we put 30-mile-an-hour signs in Shirley Way.
30,
Yep,
paved road, so we're reducing the speed limit from 35 to 30.
that's what he says. This is in compliant with the MUTCD. Whatever that might be, municipal something or other. So, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that one?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll notify the chief if that's, well, after Rory probably signed up. We'll have to let him know. Thank you, Tammy. This is have a note as well. Parks and Rec. Another lawn,
Looks like this is the chairman, you
yeah,
specifically, authorization to sign.
but I'm not sure where.
I thought it was just like
Execute
printing.
any documents. But if you're not gonna be chairman after March,
We'll have to do it again.
do it
We had
again.
to do it again. But now, sure where I'm supposed to sign it if I do get a license. Just in the front.
Well, I think it's,
This is her.
Thank you.
Oh,
I, Jennifer Golder, hereby certifying the test that I'm authorized.
okay, so she sends out, and what's the next page, what's the third one? We go all for that. Oh, we're gonna look to show.
yeah.
Williams.
You just need to vote.
That's what I said, but they're reading the thing.
You do it every year or every 2 years.
Yeah, we might have to do it twice this year, because it specifies him to be the signage, but after March, he's not gonna be. So we'll
Okay,
have
so you might do it again in March,
to do it again in
but
March.
they need it within X number of days, and they have the grant ready to submit, so.
You know how to fill this out, what I have to do to fill this out.
You don't have to fill out anything, take away your pen.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion that we have the chair sign for this.
No.
Authorization.
What you're doing is you're not signing, approving him to when the grant comes in, right? So future, you're not
We
signing.
don't do anything with this paper.
No,
That we don't need to sign.
no.
No.
You do
I
have,
remove my motion.
you do have.
No, you have to make a
You
motion.
have to make a motion that says you will allow the town to enter into that agreement when it comes in.
So moved.
It's a grant.
Second, any further discussion? I'm as confused as everybody. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. So, we have a notice from Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
It looks like they want to withdraw money from their revolving fund, and we have to approve that.
No, we don't.
No, if they were to withdraw it, we don't have to approve it.
Right.
Okay, great. So they can do anything they want with that money.
Yeah, the treasurer has to approve.
Okay,
We don't.
all right.
Written on.
So,
So they need to run that by the treasurer.
It's not. a-
yeah, and that's in
I wrote
concert with what we're going to be discussing with the warrant.
Have a meeting?
Yes, we are.
It's open to the
Hi,
public.
Ralphie.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
It's open
I
to
call the town hall about destroying my mailbox every time. Move it.
We'll try to see if we can throw it a little farther back into the yard for you.
Yeah, me and my neighbor bought new posts, new mailboxes, moved them back a foot, and they still hit.
Back to the road agent.
Nobody cares, right?
Well, I absolutely care.
Just don't know what I can do about it.
Every year for the last 5 years. Yeah, I
You're
think
stealing my report.
Huh?
You're stealing my report.
Excuse me.
Duly noted.
Nobody cares.
It's
Okay.
good government.
Who is that?
Ralph Mitchell,
Where does he live?
Durgan.
Durgan.
Well, we've been through action items.
We should mention it to the road agent.
Yes, in the past, when the crew was wiping out a bunch on the dam road, they went back and tried to remedy the situation. So maybe they'll try and remedy it again. We might as well look at correspondence because we still have no one available. First up is we have a complaint, an incident report about bubblers, an aquitherm on the lake road that prevents access to the ice.
I followed that thread.
The complainant said his house is stuck down there because he cannot get it on the ice. Said he has used the road to access the ice in the past several years. 2 aquatherms located at the house next to Lake Road. Someone had unplugged them. Said there was a post with outlets on the property. Said he went to the house, etc. Fish and Game Department is actually responsible for the monitoring of these things. But
Is it,
From what I read, any law enforcement authority can, but specifically, it usually goes to Fish and Game.
not the RSA that I read, but that's okay.
it's on town property?
No,
So,
the water isn't town property,
no, I
and
haven't.
the ice heater isn't on town
Is it
property.
our ice heater?
No,
A road ice heater?
So Jen.
The provisions of this section shall be enforced by any law enforcement agency under the direction of the Department of Safety pursuant to RSA 106A14 and the Department of Fish and Game pursuant to RSA 20626.
right. Since the state owns the lake, I say it should be deferred to Fish and Game. Now, we have the owner listed of the bubbler. It goes on and on. We've listed all the RSAs.
So the bubbler is too close to the road? Wake me up on this.
I don't know how to describe it.
He wants to launch off a lake road.
Yes, but the bubbler is not maintaining the ice, keeping the ice from forming so that he can't. And as the RSA says, and I know it's a 50 cent, it should be registered with the town. With a 50%, a 50 cent fee, if you're gonna do it. I don't know if this has been done or not. Well, it's think that if Chief Gary is working on this, you would check with the town clerk to be sure.
And that's the only access to Melvin Bay?
No,
That's another.
people have used the small town beach at the end of the Melton Wharf Road for many years to get out of the bay. Okay, so it says here the town clerk's office was closed, so I was unable to determine if the devices had permits. This is Chief Shigeri speaking. Apparently though, he is following up on it, and this is to notify us that this is what's going on. He does comment that at present it would be unsafe to access the lake from the end of Lake Road. So I would say we allow the chief to follow up, get back to us on the resolution of this issue. We have a form here from the Parks and Rec Committee, one of which I received in my mail, going out to donors for the Central Park project, and it kind of documents the changes that they've made in they want to go forward with, and it allows the donor to either take his money back or leave it with them. I got that in my mail, so I'm presuming it went out to all the donors. We have a letter here from David Ford to Joyce Lake and Jill Cromwell. We found this in our emails. This basically describes his opinion of why Davis Field is not an appropriate place for the bike park, and actually defers back to Central Park to be the place for it. Then we have another one to the Parks and Recreation Department from David Ford, and he goes into quite a lot of detail of his opinions of how this bike park, playground, etc. can go forward. very detailed. I don't know if you read it in your email or not. It'll be right here in correspondence for you. You'll have plenty of time this afternoon.
For the record, David Ford is only acting as a concerned citizen. He is not acting under any
That's right.
contract or payments from the town of Tuftonboro Parks and Rec or the Selectmen.
Well, that was nice. And we have one from the electric co-op, which reiterates their right-of-ways for the clearing of utility poles and lines.
And they're doing quite a job on Ledge Road.
And they are indeed involved in this whole hog, both feet, so to speak.
They're doing it in the dark. It started at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
They're doing it in the dark.
Then we have a letter from FEMA addressed to me, the selectmen. And they're pleased to present our community with preliminary copies of the flood insurance rate map and flood insurance study report for Carroll County. So we can, it's very detailed, with specific lots, etc. Something we can look at later on. No action needs to be taken. And the Board of Adjustment is going to hold a hearing on the 24th at 7 p.m. considering a request by Peter Way and Keela Giancola for an equitable waiver concerning Article 4.2 of the zoning ordinance. And that's correspondence. And now, I'm going to make the assumption that Ryan Patterson has arrived from the Lake Region Planning Commission to talk about the road surface management project for 2024.
Yeah.
Feel free to come right down when you're ready, Brian.
Ryan.
Ryan, I know, let loose, unfortunately. And all day adhesive has failed already. What is going on?
Oh, not much. Yourself?
We're waiting for you.
So I just want to go over the road surface management project that we did in 2019 for you all. We like to try to update things every 5 years, do another project. We piloted a update with you guys a couple months ago. I think it was in like March, something like that.
Okay.
We updated some of the road conditions based off of the road agents notes. And I was just wanted to gauge your interest on possibly doing another project.
Another project or continuation of this?
Another project, like an actual update. So having staff go out and assess the roadway and do another forecast.
Yeah, because this map doesn't really reflect the work that we've gotten done in the last 2 years. Shirley Way is still listed in yellow. Tuftonboro Neck is still listed in yellow. Both of those roads have been done. Oh, I think Tuftonboro Neck is more stuff here.
Yeah, that one's based off of like just notes from that the road agent provided us based off like past work done. So
Because we picked up quite a few of these
Yes.
pieces. We haven't started Cannon Road yet.
I think it's important to continue this work.
Yeah.
Definitely, but I would think late fall, if possible, would be the best because there's gonna be even more work done this summer. I don't know how that fits your folks' schedule.
depends. I'd have to look at how many miles of road you have, paved road.
42.
40 some way. I thought it was 48, but either way.
Yeah, I'd have to look at the old project and see how long it took them in the past.
Okay.
Kind of gauge it, because we don't want to get it too close to the winter time, because then once it snows, we can't assess the road.
Basically, you had all of 2023, you were elected because it didn't snow. No, I'm sure your schedule, it's up to you guys, but yes, it's important to keep going with this. And it's important to note for the people watching the meeting that we're trying to follow the Planning Commission's recommendations about upping our budget for paving and trying to get caught up a little better, and then trying to maintain a nice cycle that will help us. And we appreciate all your efforts, man.
Yeah.
Respect, for sure.
Is this something that we pay for separately, or is it part of our membership fee?
It would be a separate contract, and I could get you an estimate if you guys are interested in pursuing this. I could get you an estimate, maybe in like a week or something like that, so you have a better idea of how much it would cost. I also just brought along the culvert assessment that we did for you in 2017.
Right.
A lot of towns and road agents, DPWs, they like to use these together, these two projects, because then they can plan their road work and their culvert maintenance at the same time, so they're not paving the road and then tearing it up later to put a culvert in. So I figured I'd bring this along for you to look at and maybe think about this, this year, next year, something like that.
Well, we did get a substantial government or federal grant for the drainage on Canaan Valley Road. So that design's gonna happen this year. It was like $800,000 worth of federal money.
Oh, wow.
So that's another yellow and red road that you've got here. I think it probably still is yellow and red, because we haven't done any work out there.
Yeah, and we've been bringing this culvert assessments up too a lot with all the flooding that we had this past year. A lot of towns got hit pretty hard. Some of that comes from like undersized or degraded culverts and stuff like that, drainage issues. So we've been trying to bring this up to town as well.
So these maps for the culverts are current to now? When did you last up?
This 27.
This was 2017.
2017. So we don't have any for 2023?
No.
This is work that we're going to do in 2024. We haven't budgeted for this. Have we?
No.
I was wondering if you have a ballpark of what it would cost.
Well, we can't possibly know because we don't know yet.
Should ask.
I'm not entirely sure yet. I wanted to gauge people's interest before getting some
Yeah.
cost estimates together.
That's what they did in the budget, so,
Okay.
yeah,
We should have been talking.
8,000.
We should have been talking about this in September.
Well,
Well, I can get something
my
together.
recollection of the highway or the road surface condition is that that's supposed to be updated annually with work done. That was the agreement that we made back in 2020.
With
That we'd give you the information that we did for work, and these maps would get updated, or
okay.
this map.
I mean, that was before my time, and I don't recall anything like that in any notes that I read. The system's not really like too set up to update like that. Like we piloted it, like with that one.
Right.
We did this with 2 towns to see its feasibility. We're probably not going to pursue it just because it's all dependent on like note taking from the towns on what they're doing, and it doesn't really give a very great picture because roads vary so much.
So maybe a more perfect model would be for you to, if you want us to do this again, put together something so that on an annual basis or even biannual basis, we can have this updated. Because it's worthless for us to look at 2017 culverts, and it's 2024. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think we do. We've started like leaving sections in where like road agents can keep track of their own work as well. I'll have to bring that up
Because
to
you
my
project
director.
out a budget. I mean, if we look at the road surface numbers, you've got all kinds of budget projections going on, what we should be doing.
For the
So if we do it, then, it should be, it's a computer system, it's not people sitting there with a pen and pencil. It should be able to add, okay, they paid Shirley Way. So where does that come into the matrix here? Paid Shirley Way. So then that should be pushed out for whatever it is, 10 years. before we have to pay it again.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not certain you need to do a physical survey of it every single year. You need to, it needs to be earned. Or it's not a penny value.
yeah.
Well, work done doesn't account for any deterioration of other roads that may have moved from green to yellow or yellow to red.
Yeah, so we use like, UNH's, Technology Transfer Center's, like, software that they developed for this stuff. And it like, it takes into account like degradation over time of the road, like once you repair it and stuff like that. It yeah, it just doesn't, I don't know if we'd be able to update it every year.
Well, right
Like,
now, I'm looking at annual cost by repair. So you make all kinds of assumptions about what we're gonna do. If we have a 7.5% budget increase all the way out to 2028. So we are increasing our budget annually based on your recommendations back in 2019. So we don't have the capability of following up on this particular matrix. That's you own that, I don't really know.
Yeah, I mean I believe my colleague worked with the town to create that, and they made like a couple different forecasts to show like different projected outcomes.
Right.
And we've gone to doing it just in 5-year increments rather than 10-year increments, just because inflation, things change, road agents have to change priorities sometimes due to,
Right.
you know, unforeseen events with road conditions and whatnot. So we've gone to shortening the projection to 5-year projections.
Still, I mean, a 5-year projection doesn't do anything for us if we don't have this updated. I mean, I think we can all sit here and honestly say that County Road in red isn't on the top of our agenda for road repair this year.
I would agree.
And then yet here it sits in red. So we've taken care of a bunch of roads that should now be blue. But we haven't gotten any credit for it.
That was updated in March, I believe.
This?
Yeah.
So what you're offering us is just a 5-year snapshot.
Yep. It gives you it would be an updated road condition, so you know what you're looking at, like what your current state of your road network is, based on quarter-mile segments of your roads. And then a 5-year projection of like forecasted road repairs and a cost estimate, and then how they're projected to degrade over time, which we work with the road agent on. We try to work with the road agents and get this how kind of like they want it, you know, so because it's a tool to help them and help the town manage their roads. Like it's to help you guys and to see, you know, different things you can do to help and to create a plan. It's also a great communication tool to show like residents, to show like their roads on the list to get done, you know, this year.
So it's a 5-year snapshot. We have to maintain upgrades during that 5 years.
Maintain upgrades.
Yeah, anything that we do, if we change a red to a green, we have to track that. You don't track it for us.
Yeah, like, I mean, the town or the road agent would make a note, like, this road was repaired with an overlay or full depth reclamation this year. And then we'd update it again in 5 years, and, you know, ideally, like, every 5 years do it. You have you know, an idea of how, where we network is.
So it's still no annual, refreshing, the map?
No, when we did this,
Because you have to understand, every year, one of these three places goes up for election, every year. So the longest that, I mean, I've been here for quite a while, but Selectman Pike is theoretically leaving us in March, so somebody new is gonna be in that chair. So you're asking us to teach that person what we've done here on a map that hasn't been updated next year. And I don't find that to be reasonable. I think I remember we paid somewhere in the $30,000 range for this.
I'm not sure.
And that was here in 19, but I don't have that number. But we need, I think, from my perspective, some way to do this map annually so that our road agent can feed you information and we can get an updated map. That, and I know you want to retort on that, but that is the deal we were sold in 19. So I know you weren't here, so I'm not gonna pull you over the coals on this. But I was here, and I can certainly look it up. But I'd rather not. I'd rather we come to some kind of agreement. And I might not be here to be the institutional memory for this. I don't want my brothers sitting in the other chairs to buy a pig in a boat.
For 2024, I think we've already established where we're going. This might be something that we budget for 2025.
Right. But we don't know what the cost is quite yet.
No, it gives them a year to come up with a proposal for 2025 budget. I think that's where we're at.
I would agree with Bob.
And we need to be able to know that they'll integrate the Canaan Valley work into their computer program. This is what we depend on Lakes Region Planning Commission for, this is why we pay dues. Because you provide us with the ability to do these things. I mean, we're just a little town, you know.
Yeah.
They're engineers and all that shit.
I mean, part of it's like we're, again, kind of limited to what the software we have, its capabilities. We don't develop it or, I mean, we use what's given to us. And, you know, we tried doing the update, it's just not, there's so many variabilities with road conditions, like updating based off of notes doesn't, you know, as you see, it's always really give you the most well-rounded picture of what's going on. That's why we're trying to do it at shorter increments, do updates every 5 years rather than wait.
Well, I would certainly think that a reasonable agreement would be that we sign up, let's say, when they come up with a number, whenever you can, whether it's 24 or 25. But under the condition that when we give them information, they will put that into this matrix and update the map, and then have a date certain 5 years out when we come back and do a survey again, so they can see how well we did with our actual work and what the results were. Because I don't think these 10-year outlooks for budgeting are valuable at all. It really depends on the road, it depends on how long we did the job, how we fixed the drainage.
That's Ryan said, so many variables.
Yeah.
Some roads will be graded faster than others.
Yeah.
More traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say if you can come up with a cost, and that may change in a year, but it gives us something to work with.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I know we're a little bit late in season here with budgets and whatnot.
But you're too late.
Yeah. But I mean, I can get you a cost, and you guys can put it in your notes for 2025. I mean,
So if you want,
Yeah, we got
you're very good.
And take points that Chip's making into consideration.
Sure.
But it's both the other notes.
Yep. Yeah.
All right.
Have to go over that with my director and probably talk to UNH and stuff like that about their system.
Yeah, because I mean, look at it from our perspective. I was expecting that we were going to bring me a brand new map that showed us up to 2023, so I could make 100 copies of the town meeting, so we could justify the fact that we're spending more money on our roads.
Yeah.
But we're getting something for it.
Yeah, that was just the information that I had when
Yeah,
we did
no,
this.
I'm just telling you what our expectation was and how we would use it. Because your plan decides that we're gonna spend 10% more every year. I'm cool with spending 10% more every year on the roads. But our legislative body needs to see what we've done with the money. That's basically what we're hoping for.
And you color these maps based on the condition, and it shouldn't be very difficult to go in and change the color on a few roads that we've done during the year, because that's just with an updated. That shouldn't be difficult at all.
Right.
I don't know about computers.
That shouldn't be. Or we could take a little birdie magic marker.
Yeah, whatever.
That's
Right,
it.
but anyway, yeah, we appreciate you coming in.
All right.
And,
Thank you very much for your
definitely
time.
look us something up.
I'll try to get it by this week, I mean, as soon as I can, so you guys have something.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Very carefully. Bear in mind, you'll be leaving and going back to the office on state roads, not town roads. They need some work too.
Talk them into it.
That's right. Okay. Well, the next up should be the fire department monthly update. I don't know if the fire chief is around or not.
10 o'clock.
I don't know. I don't have to move that.
And
9:47.
Okay. We've gone through everything we can go through, but I know without the next three words.
You wanna, are you gonna be here until when the bid comes in?
Go over the warrant articles when you're ready to do that.
If you have them written out, you can pass out the papers, I'm sure we can start. So,
So I'm gonna give this to Candy and she can make a couple of copies for town meeting.
for town meeting,
Yeah, I think we'll just put it on the table.
good. All of them,
Why
and
not?
us too.
Why not?
This is the fire department, they wrote their own.
you wrote their own. Oh, okay.
The first two are a couple of options, then they sent me another one. I was under the assumption, based on your meetings and conversations, that you were funding the capital reserve based on the CIP, but the way they have theirs written, it looks like they're expecting to go into a lease agreement this year. The warrant articles that I did put together are not in the order of that list.
So engine 2. I don't remember. Did we talk about engine 2 before? I know we were talking about engine 4 for 2.
Well, I thought it was engine 2, that was in engine 2. And engine 4 was gonna be put off because it had so much motor work done, they thought they could go a little longer with it, but.
Okay, maybe then I was confused about it.
Oh, no, you're not, because it does say engine 4
Because they're only
in option B. I don't, it looks like the way they wrote this, they want to replace both of them at once.
This is what it looks like to me. Article 6 is to replace engine 2.
Right.
And
provide.
I think it's all engine 4. I think Article 6 was just a sample of language. It was a third sample. So what they've done for engine 4 replacement is given 3 different scenarios of how you could potentially word it. So I think the chief wrote the first 2 and then the captain wrote the third one. But I think the board needs to clarify what we were discussing last night in the budget meeting. Are you going into a lease agreement this year, or are you just putting money in the capital reserve fund? Because on page 3 of the warrant articles, we're putting money into the heavy apparatus capital reserve fund and discontinuing the engine 4 capital reserve fund.
Well, the way my mind is working is if we enter into a lease purchase agreement now, even though it takes 3 years to build it, we've locked in the price of the fire truck now. If we put money into capital reserve and wait to put the order in 3 years, the price of the fire engine is going to go up.
Well, if we wait 3 years to put the order in, it's gonna be another 3 years to get it, which makes it 6 years.
Correct. That too.
Which is insane. Then again,
All right, so it's 212 versus 200.
mhm.
So we haven't decided whether or not we're buying a fire truck. But let's assume that we do.
Okay.
So in this scenario, you can start paying in 2025 at 212,295. Or you can start it in 2024 at $200,942. So it's about $12,000 difference. Is that what it is? 100,700.
Depends on how long it is, if we want to go.
I think they're both 7.
Well, option A was a 5 year. And option B was a 7 year.
Yeah, no, 5.
No.
So 5 years is 266. 266. So you see the home insurance is pretty good.
Yeah.
So in both cases, we're paying 6 years for 2. 206,000, 206,000. So it's about $80,000 difference over the course of the lease
Mhm.
if we don't pay until 2025.
Right. 206 versus 286, basically.
And I think we should save the money and start paying now to do it.
So that would be the $200,942.22.
Yeah.
Which option are you looking at that you would? Which option? I'm having a hard time hearing.
Oh, option B.
The $200,942. I mean, they're both 7-year notes, just one of them starts a year later.
Yeah, I'm not sure how,
Slightly higher interest rate.
it's a, yeah, but the warrant article itself doesn't really fit that option B. We have to rewrite the warrant article, which is no problem, because that means we would spend immediately. They're asking for a capital improvements, wanted a capital reserve fund.
And they wanted you to put 450,000 in it.
Yeah. Logical that was to make the first payment. But it also seems that if we're gonna make, we have to do that every year as a warrant article, rather than having the capital reserve fund.
Well, I gotta put $1.2 million in the capital reserve.
Wouldn't you word it in such a way that it would allow the selectmen to enter into a lease agreement for the total amount of the expenditures? So every year you wouldn't be putting money, you'd be paying the loan.
Right. Instead of a capital reserve.
So would you then just leave the existing capital reserve funds?
Instead of just continuing it.
Well, I like the change of name, but just not add any money, leave that money in there, and instead of the 175 and a new reserve, do the first lease payment.
Well, I don't think you can ask for the whole amount, $1.2 million, because I think we were asking the voters, we're only asking them for a payment.
Right.
And the
But
only,
you're asking to go into an agreement for $1.2 million.
right, so,
Right.
no, we're asking to go into a lease agreement for a new fire's engine. I mean, we can put $1.2 million in there, we don't know what the numbers actually gonna be. But the payment that we want in the town in taxes is $200,900 and something dollars.
To make the first payment of that agreement.
Right.
But in the warrant article drafts, heavy apparatus, only 175,000. So we wouldn't do that. Instead of the 175 and over the capital reserve, you could do it at $201,000 payment. Is that what
Did
we
we
heard?
put anything in heavy apparatus last year?
Well, yeah, it wasn't called heavy apparatus, it was called,
Engine for,
Engine 4, I think it was 50,000.
yeah.
but also.
Yeah. Oh,
Perfect timing.
Okay, so we have to put 50,000.
Adam, they're reviewing the fire truck warrant article.
well, let's have your monthly report first. Then we'll ask for a little help, but I think we can. Here.
We've done 31 calls total for 2044. 7 fire calls, 14 EMS, 8 service calls, and 2 special details. 4 gas furnace inspections, no oil burner inspections, 0 outward stove inspections, and 3 life safety for a total of 7.
If I can, just a minute. What kind of special details does the department do?
And as far as special details, it all depends. Most of the time it has to do with town lines. So like yesterday, Caleb was here with Jack setting up for voting.
Okay.
So that would be, it's taking time from one of our members. So that would be a special detail. If we did bike safety
Oh,
or anything town related, or we're out doing something with the town, those would be special details.
it's good. Hopefully the public is paying attention.
As you can see, we're about the same as far as this time last year, as far as call total. And again, just remember that the overview as far as calls are not all the calls, just more significant calls that we can link to. So it's 010324 at 6:55 a.m. We went to an unresponsive person on Murray Drive. Ambulance 1, car 1, and 5 personnel along with Stewart responded. Stewart was transported to the hospital. 1824 at 5:52 a.m. We had a structure fire at 9 Mason Road. Engine 1, 2, and 4, car 1, rescue 1, utility 2, and 2 POVs responded to the scene with 12 personnel. And there is an attached press release in the back of your packet with a couple of pictures put it out. The fire started in the garage, but the garage was so badly burned that the fire marshal's office left the cause undetermined with that. The house is inhabitable, not inhabitable as far as you can see from the pictures. And we did call the proper people as far as to get the homeowners hooked up with assistance for that, and that's an ongoing process as far as it goes. The fire came in, was fully involved on our dispatch, and we were unaware, we were not sure if the occupants and the residents were still there. We were going on the initial arrival, we were going to do an event, enter and search, but as the process went along, we were able to find that the occupants self-extricated and made it to number 4 Mason Road, and I was able to confirm that on the way in with that. There were no injuries. There was one firefighter that was evaluated on scene and released from there. But I would say that the house is a total loss. As you can see, the picture of the property is what it looked like when our first unit arrived. And there was a delay because the occupants weren't able to, one, obviously being nervous, 2, they weren't able to get out to 911 immediately from there. 911 was called by a couple of neighbors before the occupants made it to the neighbor's house as far as it goes. So there was a delay, obviously, as you can see, with 911 being called. But the property obviously can be replaced, the people cannot, so I was very happy to see that they were able to get out. There were working smoke detectors in the property. Obviously, it was an older property, so there was a limited amount of them. The smoke detectors actually, they heard them going off, but one of the occupants was a light sleeper, and you could hear the crackling of the fire if they had already made it up into the attic before they had As you can see on the press release, we had multiple mutual aid companies that came in and assisted at that scene, and we thank them for that assistance. Obviously, with a larger fire, that's where you want your mutual aid, and that's where it comes in. And we very thank you for them. And that was to include, Tuckerville PD, the Highway Department, and the Fire Marshal's Office, Action Ambulance, and Stewart's, along with surrounding fire departments, Molten Borough, Wolfboro, Center Ossipee, Ospey Corner, West Ospey, Madison, Wakefield, Sandwich, Tama, Freedom, and Albany was our cover truck in our station. With
Now Madison and Wakefield, they don't come to the fire. They cover other towns that come to the fire.
no,
right?
they were
They
there.
actually came?
Yes. Yeah.
The location
The
for the
location.
public in this case was a tough one.
Yes.
It's crowded down there. And I understand that these folks are shoveling water.
Yeah.
And that's big. That's when mutual aid really comes
Right,
into effect.
and that's where, the trucks may come in, with one or two personnel on them. Or if it's requested, obviously, whatever they can send as far as personnel.
Sure.
So all of those towns, they might not provided personnel for every, from every department, but they provided the truck, to tank water. A couple different things that we ran into, obviously you can do a loop there, but, the ice conditions, that's where the highway department came in, to help sand that, and to sand the Melbourne Marina hill that goes down. The night before, I had plowed the dry hydrants in Melbourne Village with a new car one, in conjunction with whoever normally, whether it's a homeowner that helps out sometimes with them, or the marina. We don't usually plow the road that goes down into the marina, but we keep the dry hydrants open that is there. The dry hydrant at the Melbourne Dam. The initial truck from Ospey Corner that hooked up to that found an issue with it, whether it was something with their vehicle that was hooking up to it as far as connection. But they ended up moving to the second location in the marina, which worked out very well. But I knew that those locations were open because I had plowed them, earlier, so. But yes, that's where all the trucks come in as far as it goes. All of our apparatus did make it there as far as the Class A pumpers, and they were needed, as far as it goes, as you can see in the statement that was there. We, on 1/8, we started to report a building fire at 21 Intersports in Moultonborough. We canceled en route. It ended up being a PD issue and personnel. We had 3 personnel responding to that incident. 1/11/24, 8:44 p.m. Illegal outside fire. Should be 8:44 a.m. Legal outside fire at Johnson Road. Rescue 1 and 2 personnel responded to that. The fire was extinguished in the warning given for burning trash and illegal materials. 1:15/24, 7:19 a.m. reported ice rescue subject to the ice in the area of Little Gansey Island on Lake Winnipesaukee. Car 1, Utility 1, Boat 2, 4 personnel, and we were canceled prior to our arrival to the scene. Subject was out of the water. 1:15:08:30 a.m. we reported tree to a residence at 23 Edge of Lake Drive. Rescue 1 with Captain Morgan responded to that, and there was a couple of snippets in the package. 1:21:24, 4:41 request for a covered engine for Wolfboro fire. Engine 2 with 3 personnel responded. And 1:21:24, 9:27 p.m. we assisted the CCSO sheriff's deputies with a reported suicidal subject in the area of 20 Mile Bay and Governor Whitworth. Ambulance 1 with 4 personnel responded to the scene, and Stewart's transported the patient to the hospital. And getting to the warrant articles, I know that at our last update, there was no decision made in reference to the generator at the Mirror Lake Station. And just inquiring if that decision had been made, whether or not it was going to be a warrant article, and which contractor was.
You've got a warrant article here, not a list of warrants, but $15,760.
Okay.
But it doesn't look like that's enough.
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, it is 15.6.
Yeah.
13, I missed the 13.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we do have a warrant article on that.
Okay.
And if it passes, we can then make a decision.
Yeah.
I would like to comment that it seems like, at least in this last report, although staffing and call members are hard to come by, we've had a really good response from our people in this last period.
We
Come right out for it.
We're having a decent response. We're also working on trying to, we're going to, as far as the full-time people, we're going to try to look at different times as far as staffing wise, to more efficiently use them. The only thing that you need to question when it comes down to when it comes down to whether it's 4 on, 4 off type of thing, how the hours work out in a week. Sometimes it would be more hours that the person worked, sometimes it would be less. So there would have to be something okay, so just something that would be right. But we're trying to more efficiently use the time as well as the people.
It seems like everybody's done a good job this last period, especially, like good turnout. I'm good, thank you.
You're welcome. The generator, it looked like the total with the low bid, as far as unit, would be $15,760. I think that's what you had just said.
That's what we've got the warrant article.
In that, just so you know, that included the piping and the installation of the regulators, and the propane. I estimated $1,000 for propane. That may be a little bit high, but it'll give us money to cover for if there was any issues that were ran into it. The low bid did include everything that you had inquired about with that, so we're set. And that included redoing the wiring and stuff inside the station. Engine 4, which is currently at the Mirror Lake Station, needed repairs for an oil leak that was noted from onboard the hydraulic generator system. It's unknown what the exact cost was for the repairs. The repairs were made at Lakes Region Fire Station. It's been running very well with the engine repairs that were completed in 2023. Engine 4 was the last. The Engine 4 was the second truck in the scene of the 9 Mason Road structure fire. Engine 4 carries 2,500 gallons of water and began feeding Engine 1 water just as the 1,000 gallons of water ran out in that particular truck. And questioning it for the second warrant article was as the select board made a decision on a lease purchase for replacement of Engine 4, the estimated cost of $1.2 million for 2024. The time to receive the truck would be 2 to 3 years from the date of the order. So that was the second warrant article in question, and obviously that would be a big question because of the cost.
We were just talking about that when you walked in the door.
Yep, we were discussing it as you walked in. No decision's been made yet, but we're waiting.
Okay.
Let's
So
continue.
we had a capital reserve for Engine 4, so that's 50,000.
I think that was actually it was set up for Engine 1, but I would think that could be reworded and
Right.
voted on as far as to be moved to that.
So one of the Selectman Murray was talking about being more amenable to the $200,942 payment,
Mhm.
which I think is option B.
Which is a 7-year lease purchase.
So we'd have to raise $150,942 this year. I think.
Right.
I put the 50 grand into that.
Okay.
Into that thing.
And one thing that I would say is that if we're slated for other items as far as, I know the CIP had put in whatever, for large apparatus, small apparatus, I think that we really do need to focus on the large apparatus and then, down the road, look at the other stuff as far as warrant articles and things like
Should you
that.
prioritize the
I would-
new engine?
I would prioritize the truck because it's gonna be so long to get
Right.
that truck.
And this Article 6 at the bottom of your submission here,
Mhm.
that's just an example. That's not,
I don't know if the chief has that. Captain Morgan sent one later from
Yeah.
2017.
Yeah, that's just an example as far as, for that was taken from, I asked him to send some information, to Audrey in reference to finding that so that she wouldn't have to go through it, and waste time as far as trying to. I would prioritize the truck, and obviously we have other things that are going on, other departments that need equipment or things to be repaired and things like that also. So we have to be our department has to be mindful of that. So to be fair with that, I think that would be the best thing, is not look at anything further as far as putting money.
That's refreshing.
well, it isn't, and it was something I was gonna remind the budget committee of last night. We will have additional expenses next year. We'll have different needs that was drawn up as things like that.
Now, one thing that which is a little off in place, is that the fire station, we must be getting close to the final payments to that. It was like there was 1 or 2 years left, type of thing. So there's one payment that we wouldn't have. Then,
That doesn't mean you can add a $300,000 to the line.
but just, it's kind of refreshing to see that is done and out of the way.
Always.
The new car one has been working very well, and we've been using to clear snow from the town for hydrants. Mason Road is in Center Cove. So you go.
He's way down the end on the right, it's like the last house to the right before you.
So you go in, you've got Center Cove that runs in and goes all the way down to the lake. Mason Road veers off and goes all the way up to the Ball Peak line. You can see the golf course from the cul-de-sac there. And then View Royce comes down. We've also used it to clear driveways in case of emergency. So during the snowstorm, when we had responded, we ran into a couple of situations as far as the driveways hadn't been plowed to get the ambulance in and get the patients out. We will hit the end of it or push in to make access to that if we have the truck there. And obviously, as I had said, that we had used it to do dry hydrants in Mountain Village in conjunction with highway and other people. But to clean up around the hydrants has been great. The department would like to recommend Robert McKenna, 5 Oak Leaf Ave, South Tupperville. We have completed all required background checks. He currently holds a CDL-B license with hazardous material motorcycle tank endorsement. Mr. McKenna took a leave of absence on 1/12/2018 for health issues. and not having enough time due to his work schedule. This has now changed for him, and he would have to rejoin the department. Mr. McKenna would have to go through a complete NFPA fire department physical, which all new members are required to have. The last people that have joined the department have gone through that, and it's right around between $600 to $800, depending on what has to be done as far as screening. But it's very good as far as finding any issues and very thorough. Our last people have gone through that, and we do budget for a couple of those in the year.
Right, so the thing to do would be to get that done
Yeah.
and then submit the
Paperwork.
appointment paperwork,
Yeah.
provided that it passes the
Everything
physical.
is
Yeah.
really good.
And it's nice to see we have a returning member,
Right.
if not another one.
Central Station had an electrical issue dealing with motion light sensors in the hallways on the office side on 12/30/23. The issue was repaired by Tim Christian Electric after the New Year holiday. Cybersecurity training has been completed by Skip Galvin, Caleb Pike, Chris Morgan, and myself. We're still getting the administrative secretary back into the system to finish up the training when she's there. Those certificates were turned into Candy. And the department received a request from the transfer station supervisor to check a hazardous condition in the main building at the transfer station. The roof of the transfer station is leaking water into the ceiling area and electrical fixtures. I was shown a picture of water that was puddling on the floor under where the water had dripped from the fixtures. It is evident from looking at the ceiling that water has been ongoing for an extended period of time. It was evident by the discoloration in black areas on the press board ceiling that it's been wet and dried many times. And we would question and be concerned about the presence of mold. I was unable to access the attic crawl space at the time of the investigation.
So where,
So this,
where is this leaking?
it's in the roof area, on the, it looks like on the front side of the building, the side that the roof hadn't been replaced.
So where people walking?
So you've got your cardboard area that is there. If you look directly up, there's an area where the door openers are for the main doors, and some new lights that have been put in. The leak apparently is in that area, and if you look across, there's some pictures in the packet. If you look across, you can see dark areas where it has been. It looks like that you need a lift or, a pretty big ladder to get up into that area safely, to do whatever. But my concern is that probably, obviously, the insulation is ruined in that area. But again, it's not my building, but we did look at that. I see that the roof replacement for the building was put off until 2029 under the capital improvement. I would think that the attic area is checked. You were going to find the insulation in that area is waterlogged and possibly need to be removed and maybe check for mold or removal. The issue should be in this year's building maintenance budget or warrant article to repair the roof. As we are aware of ongoing problems with the roof leaking, our insurance company might not pay any claims if there's a fire or any electrical issues in that area. I think it's very important to address this issue in our current buildings to ensure the health and safety of employees and public that use the building on a regular basis. So that's.
So we're late for roof replacement, or in this year's budget.
You certainly should get somebody up on the roof to see if they can
mitigated.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's an issue that, you know, when we have these big storms, that somehow with the wind is blowing in, and you get the snow in there and melting and causing that, or if it indeed is, you know, leaking. That's something that definitely needs to be checked as soon as it goes. And I know that the CIP said something like $40,000 for the replacement, so I don't know if that covered both sides of the roof. I don't have a metal roof on any of my buildings or no building.
They're more expensive, but they last longer. Any other question about the
And
leave?
I had a question about the sick pay buyback for retiring or leaving employees, as far as that goes. Looking at the paperwork, on the form of changes, there was nothing there that said anything about that not being done for people that were leaving, but apparently it was taken out of the new
There's no sick time.
information.
There's no sick time payout.
Okay.
It's just vacation time.
Yeah.
Your
Okay.
vacation and holiday.
It wasn't listed on the change. Yes, that's what I was thinking. That I could see. So I just wanted to make sure that that was the case.
Great. So, here we are. It looks like, as we were speaking about with the replacement of engine 4, that the option B, at least per our discussions, so far seems like the logical one for us to go with. And again, if we discontinue the capital reserve fund as suggested by CIP, and we move that, wouldn't really go into the heavy apparatus reserve fund. We could use it in the warrant article and only have to get 150. But if we start paying now, it certainly takes a lot of the curse off by the time we can get in.
Right.
This is only getting worse and worse, as we all know. And, you know, I'm expecting before long it's going to be 5 years before you can get a truck.
Right.
And if we wait, it's just going to make it longer and longer.
And that you know, this price in the years were just two manufacturers that we had talked to. With the third manufacturer, which we haven't received anything back from. I don't know where they are as far as time-wise. I think that they were still in the 3-year period. But I know that there's other manufacturers out there that deal with towns around us that are up to 4 years right now. So.
Well, we'll certainly be working on warrant articles later on.
Okay.
I get the feeling that option B is going to be the one we go with. We haven't decided it yet, but we've certainly had some discussion.
And if you need any further information, I know that one of the companies, there was a question of like $35,000 discount if we had paid upfront as far as that goes for the truck. But that is all up in the air depending on how you were going.
So is there significant price differences between the two manufacturers?
Not really. There's not.
Because let's say we put $175,000 in the warrant article and get 50s, and we get 225.
Right.
You got enough?
Yeah, well, the 1.2 is an estimate as far as it goes. And obviously, depending on how the company that does that, that's what they estimated as far as a payment wise for that. So we're basically going for the 1.2, and it could come in less. So that should cover whatever that we're looking for, including a performance bond that makes sure that the fire truck gets built one way or another by someone.
Great.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next up, we have Steve Scapiccio from the Conservation Commission, and I'm believing he's accompanied by no one. Due to the nature of this appointment, I'm going to recommend that we go into non-public session pursuant to RSA 91-A:3, numeral 2, parentheses D.
Was that a motion or recommendation?
That's a motion.
Second.
Don't fight about this. All in favor? Aye.
Murray, aye.
Pike, aye.
Aye.
All right, we're going into non-public. Now,
You're all set.
So every year we have to do a easement.
Order? Cammy? we good?
Yes.
So every year we have to do easement walks on properties that the town owns required. And when we did the easement walk on the Chandler Parkhurst property, we found that the current resident that owns the lot behind our driveway entrance has posted no trespassing signs, which is a violation of the easement. Essentially, it's intimidating the people not to drive up the driveway to go into the parking lot. So we, as a Conservation Commission, have no enforcement authority, so that has to come from the Selectmen to figure out what you guys want to do with this.
Selectmen or code office?
Well,
more
that's up to
likely
you.
police.
That's up to you. That's why we don't have the enforcement authority. You know, I'm bringing it to your attention that we have this problem up here that needs to be addressed because it's
We should have
definitely.
a copy of the.
Steve, where's the
conservation
property? Where's the property?
This is on 20 Mile Bay, the Chandler Parkhurst property.
Lot number 028-002-004.
And run through the problem again.
So that first sign on that second picture that showed that sign that says no trespassing, that's the one on your right, Chip. That's that's actually on town property. And the second one, which is the first picture, the one on your left, is actually on town property entering the parking area.
So can we just take it down?
We've done, someone has done that before. It's not well received.
I've played that game before.
Yeah. I don't know if the guy had shotguns or what in that house. I'd be a little nervous out there with the wrench trying to take those signs down.
I would suggest that we had the police chief contact this person. We do have an address, and inform them of the situation and possibly meet with a plot plan, because we do have a conservation easement there, and show him where he could put the signs and not restrict our access to the property. Or at least contact him and say, look, you actually are putting signs on town property. And then maybe go from there. That would carry the most weight, I would think, rather than me or any of us calling him up and saying, hey, or Steve.
I wasn't gonna call, but I'll go with your recommendation.
So why don't we have the police chief, see if he can contact this fellow, explain what's going on, and we can explain that to the police chief, see where we go from there. But I'm aware that this area is used a lot by the public.
It is. It's,
And,
well, I don't know how much it is with the signs here, because truly they're,
it usually was.
yeah. Because, you know, you have to go up the driveway and then turn right to get to the parking area. The way he's posted those signs, it definitely says, it looks like it's right at the end of that little bridge there, the tunnel there, so it definitely looks like people cannot use the driveway or that entrance into the park.
We should have the police chief see if he can contact this fellow. See if we can come to a resolution, and if that doesn't work, we'll have to get a little tougher. Great.
And on the Lions property that we purchased 2 years ago, we're finally ready to close on the easement to Moose Mountain Regional Greenway.
And I've been working with Laura, and she's okay with the easement deed. Then the question came up on signing the easement deed. So I sent it back to her, and I'm still confused at what she wants, but, so this is what she responded back to me with. I don't know how you guys want to handle it, it just sounds like an awful lot just to get on an easement deed.
I'm assuming when the town obtained the property, it was deeded to the town of Tuftonboro, acting by and through its Conservation Commission with the approval of the Board of Selectmen.
Yep, exactly how it's worded.
Seems like that's how it went. I would have the same entity be the grantor, and I would have both the BOD, whatever that is,
I think she was trying to do BOS.
okay, and the Conservation Commission sign the conservation easement. I would need further clarification on that myself. I'm not sure, again, what they should say.
You know,
Did we know that
again,
already?
no, we did not. So the easement is separate deed from the purchase.
All right.
We're granting an easement
To,
Moose Mountain.
to Moose Mountain.
Okay, do we have paperwork for that yet?
Well, the only paperwork we have would be the deed. That was all part of the agreement. They gave us $20,000
Yeah.
towards the purchase.
But wouldn't we need to have some kind of paperwork granting them the easement?
It's a deed. And that's what I've been working with Laura Spector over at Municipal Law. So the deed is all set, and she's looked at it and it's okay. So it's just signing it now. That's what we're down to.
Then where is it and why can't we sign?
I don't know. Well, they have to change it because originally on the deed, which I originally kicked this to Laura for, was because it just said Conservation Commission. And I know that the deed, the property was
Right.
bought by the town.
Exactly.
So I went back to Moose Mountain, I went to her and said, how do you want this worded so that it's correct? And this is what she came back with. So I had Moose Mountain change it to Town of Tuftable for the Conservation Commission, same way it was worded on the deed. And then, but I still don't understand what she wants for signatures on it.
You want to read that yourself, see if you can. It looks like she wants the Board of Selectmen and the Conservation Commission to sign it.
I'm not even certain the Conservation Commission has to.
That's what I'm saying. I
Right.
mean, if the Board of Selectmen signed it, why does the Conservation Commission?
I wouldn't think you'd have to, belongs to the town of Tufton.
So we'll ask Laura. This is from, no, this one.
That's from Laura Spector, yeah.
I don't know.
That's community law, yeah.
So she didn't create the deed, or
She did not create the deed, so we had Moose Mountain create the deed.
Okay, so did they send us a copy?
Yes, they sent, and I sent it to her for review. She's okay with the deed,
And Moose Mountain's okay with the deed?
and Moose Mountain's okay with the
We
deed.
haven't seen
But I can send it to you, that's not a problem. They just have to change it so it says Town of Tuftonboro for the Conservation.
it. We'll have them make their, whatever changes they need to make.
Right.
So,
Get them to us. And we'll go from there. And then if we still have questions, we'll work around it. But
Okay,
we definitely want it. We put a lot of time and effort in there already.
again, this is just the easement part of this easement,
Right.
so it's, we already own it, and that is all I have.
All right,
Okay.
sounds good, Steve. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
It's gonna be very helpful for us. All right, next, I'm gonna have to make a motion to go into non-public for RSA 91 capital A, colon 3, comma, Roman numeral 2, parentheses, B.
Second.
By Guy?
Murray, aye.
Oh, fine.
And don't forget your little dictation machine.
Got it.
Yes, I know you're cool. Oh. All right, continuing on, ready for town administrator and selectmen's update. Shall we have our town administrator give us her update?
The warrant articles are drafted. W-2s were all printed and sent to employees. That was a new learning in MuniSmart. I am looking at taking the last week of March off,
The last week.
a whole week. Yeah, and
That would be vacation.
exactly.
You'll
That's
submit that to your supervisor.
You always take mud season off, but it seems odd.
And what else is going on in the office? The personnel form, I updated that you saw. So just keeping up.
And we did just hire a person,
Yes,
so,
hired a minute taker for the board.
excellent. And office assistant. Should help. And then your intention is to have her update the HR files?
Yeah, Ashley's been through the same training as I have with Primex on what should be in the HR files, and it doesn't look like they've been maintained for a while, so we'll get those up to date. And I think Cammie said the records room down in the basement could use some attention as well.
And she could probably keep us a little more up to speed on our employee, it's called performance reports, performance evaluations, which we seem to drop the ball on a regular basis.
Yeah, we're not in bad shape. I need to do Cammie's, and then we need a work session for you to do your people.
Good. Any selectmen's updates?
Other than, well, Parks and Rec, we had a meeting last week, and a lot of what I'm gonna be talking about, we're gonna be talking about when we discuss warrant articles, so I'll save you for that.
Chip?
So I did have Cammie email the, I think, 3 companies who are within the price range that we're looking for our proposed solar operation, to try to get performance out of them. I think it was with a bit of hubris that our budget committee decided they wanted to investigate the performance, because they're not going to be involved in the selection. But I still think we probably should get as much performance information as we can. The warrant article, I think, is proposed, doesn't declare who it is we're hiring.
Right.
And after last night's meeting, I'm concerned with their proposed overreach with regards to a couple of things. One is the solar project proposal. The other is the contingency fund having some connection to their approval for spending, which I think I'm gonna propose as one select.
I support your position.
I think if we go down that slippery slope, we're gonna find.
Please be vehement, and if you need backup, I'm available. I'm sorry, but the statute doesn't allow them such privileges.
We can.
We can, but statute.
Modify it, but I don't feel like
I
modifying.
don't think we need to. And along that line, having attended the meeting, I think they're overstepping their bounds a little bit on warrant articles. However, I appreciate the suggestions.
Yeah, and I like the idea that they wanna have comedy, but I think it seems to be comedy in one direction, so. Okay, come on.
I don't think it's out of line for them to want to take a look at the performance, because they're looking at the financial best interests of the town. So, and all I can do is offer up a recommendation.
Well, they can't change it.
Can't change word by decision.
But I don't know that that should be a determinant factor in the decision whether or not to go forward. I mean, if we have the warrant article at $350,000 and we get the performance in March, we haven't awarded anything. If it doesn't look like it's gonna work, the 3 of us can figure that out and leave the $350,000 bit where it is.
Correct.
And
Correct, because it's not any new money, it's money that we already have.
Right.
right.
I'm with you.
Me as well, for the moment anyway.
And lastly, and I'm hoping you can do this today, because I think it would make our lives a lot easier. Probably somewhere in your computer is the revenue section that we did last year, and it's just a form that we fill out that got, pilot money, revenue from the state, highway grant money, all of that.
Tax.
And that's what feeds this budget comparison that I found.
On the registration
Right,
fee.
it just doesn't have any revenue.
Middletown.
It has revenue here for
Right,
23,
right.
but we need to put revenue for 24,
It's got my,
so.
Can I borrow this from you?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get the number. And that, I did add that up, and it's 1,012,380 by my, that's on the back of that award. Of warrant articles, like
2023's revenue
warrant articles.
from 2023.
Right. We had revenue from 2023 of 2,147,633. So. No. I'm looking at this. I guess we have to wait until we get to that, is that what we should do? Because I'm not seeing the budget that's approved currently. The operating budget is 4,752,000.
Yeah, I haven't completed 2024, this
Okay.
is,
Because I think it's 5,100,000 and something.
right.
Okay.
And the budget committee still has 2 budgets to vote on. They didn't vote on the transfer station,
But
so I didn't put a lot of
I thought
effort.
they voted on transfer station.
No, highway department.
See, the MS 737
And they're gonna have to.
does list out revenues.
Right. But we have a form that's,
I know that we do,
that
but
we did this way.
Right.
And then it gets listed under.
Sure.
So,
that record of that should be in,
but that's 23 though.
right, but you should be able to find the form,
Yeah.
and then you put in our numbers for this last year.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, for the 737.
Okay?
I can come down.
Sure,
Just,
yes, you can,
I mean, it's nice if we're consistent year to year. It's all gonna end up on the 737, but it's easier to work with on the worksheet.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay, I don't have anything to report other than the Conservation Commission report that he gave. Kind of stole some thunder from a couple of us, but that's all right. So, we wanted to get talking about warrant articles, which we can do. Do you want to just start the way they are, or do you want to go in a different order, or?
In order, please.
Yeah, and I think the order needs to get changed up a little bit, but we work on that number. We'll work on the number.
You want the controversial one right out of the gate?
I don't mind controversial right out of the gate. But I think it should have some sort of resemblance to last year's, I think.
I just understand why you put operating budget last.
We always do. Always do. We have for the last million years.
That way, okay, that way, at least there's some people left at town meeting.
Right.
If we put it first, they'd vote and there'd be nobody there.
Everybody would get up and leave.
Right.
I
And we,
think that-
I take your point, but if every year we've done it the same way and all of a sudden we change it, all of a sudden the conspiracy theorists are gonna think that that QAnon has moved the numbers around so we can get something passed that we shouldn't get passed.
Mhm.
Anyway. I'm sorry.
Fine. So,
Sugar.
I see nothing wrong with the wording, solar array warrant article.
the only thing I see that might be changed would be the votes.
Oh, sorry, I didn't get those zeroed out yet.
Yeah.
And I have an interesting question on that. Is there ever gonna vote on a warrant article where one of the selectmen abstain?
No. Unless they have a personal interest in the result. So if you all know, what's, but abstention is only if you have a personal
The
interest.
reason I ask is because I'm not necessarily in favor of the warrant article, but I believe it should go to the voters.
Then,
I guess voting no would be the way to do it.
if you're not in favor of it, you should vote no.
Okay,
Not that-
so I don't have any problem with the way it's written. My issues come with the fact of not being able to get American products, the environmental impacts of the mining that needs to be done to the materials, the human rights violations that happen worldwide in the mining of these materials, etc. So, do we need to vote on this warrant article right now?
Well, I think we should. This is kind of what we're doing here.
All right. So,
I'll make a motion.
Also, I disagree with,
We should make a motion.
I believe, Guy is correct, that, a yes vote would put this forward to the voter, where he would then vote no if he's not in favor of the article. We're voting to put it forward. We're not voting on the article.
Of the veracity. Is that what you're saying?
We're not voting on the article itself, whether we believe we should do it or not. We're voting whether we bring it forward to the voter.
yeah, right, I can see that logic, that's fine. Yep.
So if my
I
opinion
got the numbers.
is to agree with you,
Yeah.
if you want to bring it forward to the voter, you vote yes.
Okay.
Where if it makes it and you don't like it, at the town meeting, you can vote no against it.
True.
And I know we haven't made a motion, but I fully agree that if that's what we're gonna do, if that's what we're gonna do. I've only had one problem with you in the past, where you voted yes, and then a town meeting voted no.
Yes.
But, and it made it clear that you're gonna vote no
Mhm.
at the town meeting. I'm happy with that now.
Okay.
So if you wanna vote yes to present it to the voters,
Yes. Okay.
I'm fine with that. And if you want to vote no at town meeting, I'm fine with that. I just not want it as a fellow selectman to know what your position is.
Okay.
And that's
Right.
clear to me now.
Sure. All right, so I would, well, we need to vote.
We
So-
do. I'll make a motion that we vote an approval of article for the solar array.
Yes.
I'll second.
50,000.
All in favor?
And then we'll move it to the
Right. Next up is what's somehow become major road preservation. I don't know how that title came about, but,
do you want paving instead?
well, what it says
Can you
is,
elaborate on that?
you gotta read a little bit. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a sum of $450,000,
Oh,
$350,000 in parentheses. So that's gotta change.
Is it four or?
It's 3.
It should be three.
For the preparation of paving of major town roads.
I don't know which one was right.
Okay.
Preparation and paving of major town roads. So why are we calling it major road preservation? I mean, I understand the term, we are preserving it.
What do we call it last time around?
Town. You didn't have
We don't have
titles.
titles.
We don't
And
need
I was
titles.
trying to make it look a lot nicer.
So-
So just major roads,
So can we call it major road paving?
paving, okay.
Okay, this is a number we all agreed on. So I think I'll recommend that we approve this, and I'll have a second.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And then it would be neighborhood road paving.
Should say 200
And yeah, it should say 275,000.
Yes.
Spelled
instead of
out.
250. I mean 150. Okay.
Once again, this is our numbers. So I'll make the motion that we vote to approve this.
A second? Well, not as written, is correct.
That's corrected, yeah.
And remain paving.
Right.
Okay. A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
States Department of Vehicle Expendable Trusts warrant article for the amount of $50,000 as written.
I'll second that. Any discussion on that one, Chip? All in favor? Aye.
Change that to
Remind me.
$75,000. We're changing that to $75,000.
I was gonna say, remind me of the discussion.
Well, that was the discussion last night. We haven't decided yet, we will be right now, what we're gonna do with it. They had come to the conclusion, the budget committee, that $75,000 would not be too distasteful to the public. And,
It would be easier selling $150,000.
And we jump in from 5.
yes, we've had 5 for decades, and it's just,
It's ridiculous.
you can't do much with $5,000 anymore.
But Chris, from the budget committee, we're gonna present the article. Chris from the budget committee is gonna stand up and speak to the increase from $5,000 to $75,000. And hopefully help the public understand that we either do the contingency or we have a higher highway department operating budget.
Okay, and if we're gonna continue as we have in the past, then this money should be coming out of the Amazon fund balance. So Article 8 from last year read that to see if the town voters to establish a contingency fund for the current year for unanticipated expenses that may arise and further to raise it and appropriate the money to put in the fund, said sum to come from the unassigned fund balance, any appropriation left in the fund of the year and lapse into the general. So I think we should use that language and decide on that.
Yes, and then there was the discussion last night that we create this as a non-lapsing fund, and anything that's left over stays there. And I don't know, it's like,
If we do it that way, we don't have to reappropriate
every year.
every year.
We might have to appropriate enough to keep a balance.
Correct. Any money that's taken out of it in place.
But if we want to increase it in another year, then we.
Yep, no, you're on the right track.
Really?
Yeah.
Did I mark the calendar at home for my wife?
Where it's not a specific.
But that's only my
purchase,
thing.
and it's solely in our discretion to spend.
Mhm.
My feeling would be that we should do it annually.
I think so as well.
I mean, with the police one, for instance,
Yes.
that's specifically for police equipment
Right.
purchase.
Mhm.
This is,
So do we want to go ahead and call that 75,000 as the budget committee seemed to think?
I think that's what we all kind of agreed on last night.
Can we change that to 75,000?
and can we agree that we should use language from Article 8 of 2023?
Yes, that should specify that the money comes from the undesignated fund balance. Yeah.
So-
Appropriation left to go.
I'm gonna make a motion that we approve this article as read, to see if the town will vote to establish a contingency fund for the current year for unanticipated expenses that may arise and further to raise the appropriated $75,000 to put in the fund. Said sum is to come from the unassigned fund balance, any appropriation left in and funded at the year end will lapse in the general fund.
I'll second that motion. Any further discussion on that, guys?
No, other than that's just, so we're not raising new money. Right. It's,
And
okay.
I'm wondering,
It's just giving us permission to spend $75,000 from the undesignated fund.
I think we need to add to the language, no additional monies to be raised from new taxes.
Yes.
What article number did you just read that from? 8.
Article 8 from 2023, which doesn't include no new money raised by taxes. We really should put that in there.
Yes.
Agreed.
So I make that motion.
I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
I can't fully hear back here,
Okay.
so you didn't
Feel
make
free
it
to come.
non-lapsing.
No,
States one.
it's lapsing every year,
Okay,
and we'll have to revote it every year, I think is what we agreed to. Okay.
Next up is fire station generator. We had a lot of discussion with the fire chief about that. It seems that the money that we have suggested will cover the cost if we use the low bidder, whose proposal included everything we needed. I'd make a motion that we run this article just the way it's written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then we have the environmental study of 19 Mile Brook. The article is written clearly enough. The discussion always comes back to the fact that this year we would be funding the full amount of the study because Wolfboro doesn't want to continue.
Mhm.
As we should know from previous discussions, I feel this is very important, and if someone doesn't do it, then shame on us. So I'm gonna make the motion that we accept this article as written.
Second for discussion.
Please do.
I'm in favor of the article. However, I think that we should be seeking restitution from Wolfboro.
And having written to DES and gotten the word back from Attorney General, et cetera, they're not willing to do that. That said, I think what will happen is if we continue to do this and do it ourselves, and there is a problem, I think that we can get restitution on this. What they're betting their lives on is that nothing ever is gonna happen.
Right.
And we had a really wet year this year. We don't have the results of the study from this year. Some kind
Takes a while.
of, yeah. And I think maybe that problem will be solved by us funding this as well.
I agree with Chip. I think this protects us in the future, continuing to do this. And otherwise, we have nothing to go back on to say, hey.
No, like I said, I support the article, but I think that this is a problem that we have that has been forced upon us by Wolfboro's decision to do this, and I don't think that we should be responsible for the $35,000. So I support the article because we need to do it, but I still believe that we should seek restitution.
All right, so any further discussion? All those in favor of the article?
I,
All right, the Mirror Lake Watershed Management Plan. This is the hardest one to explain to me.
I have a question that, like, and I don't care if this is voted on today or not, actually. But I'd like to ask DRA if we could put 175,000 in the contingency and use the contingency to guarantee this line. Because I really hate the idea of moving the money to Concord and then waiting for them to bring the money back. I mean, I just don't know how this works.
I would agree.
I mean, they're asking us to guarantee this loan.
It's exactly what they're asking us to do, to guarantee it. And of course,
We can guarantee it in some other format other than a warrant article.
Well, can we just, if we're just guaranteeing it, and it's really gonna be money out and no money out, potentially.
Well,
Do
unless
we have to make payments to start? No.
I didn't think so. I thought we had to just report the work done, and they forgave the portion of the debt.
all the debt.
Can we do this, with undesignated fund balance?
That's what Chip would like to ask.
Yeah.
So let's put that one on hold for the time
well,
being.
you can fund it however you want. But you need the approval of the voters to enter into the agreement. Because no matter where it comes from, taxation or undesignated funds, you're still entering into an agreement.
Right, but Chip's right about the money. Eventually, at the end of the day, we're not gonna have to spend this money. So it seems kind of silly to have to raise $100,000 in taxation to pay for this, that
Like,
we're just gonna stick back.
yeah,
in
ask DRA how we should word this so we don't have to tag the taxpayers for $100,000 that we're not gonna have to spend.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
So we'll put this on hold for the time being. And then
I
Canyon,
mean, I think the
So
word.
I'll ask DRA, because DES isn't gonna.
DRA.
Okay, yes.
explain to them what there is, what's going on, how do we do that? Because what should happen is, as we guarantee the money, the state's gonna issue money paid to the contractors that do the work for the Merrill Lake Protective Association. And when the work is done, and $100,000 has been spent, they would forgive the loan. On the other hand, if for some reason it all goes haywire, we're supposed to be funding it, because we're guaranteeing the loan. And the Merrill Lake Protective Association has agreed to pay any interest that occurs, accrues rather, while they're doing the work. They've had good luck in the past of getting the stuff done quite quickly, which is good, but yeah, talk to DRA, let's see if we can come up with a better way of doing this. Let's move on then. Canyon Road culverts, I don't know if I'd call that Canyon Road culverts, but I'd call it drainage.
Canyon spelled wrong.
I know,
Yeah,
she just
Two
corrected
N's.
me.
Two N's in Canaan.
should we call
No,
it
there's
Canyon,
two A's.
Canyon Road reconstruction?
There were 3 A's, 2 N's.
3 A's, 2 N's.
Right.
Should we change that from culverts to or drainage, I should say,
Yes.
which is what the actual thing
And is it
is.
Canyon Road or Canyon Valley?
Not Valley.
Valley, it says so, right?
No.
Okay, this, just one more trip through their Mirror Lake.
Oh boy.
We're not asking to issue bonds and notes.
No.
I took the language from the 3 examples that were given to us by,
Okay, but we're not gonna borrow the money, they did, for whatever reason. We're gonna do it with our own money. We have to put money in.
it's not how the grant works, that's not how it works. We're borrowing it,
Oh, we're borrowing it from,
DES, basically the
okay,
state.
then this has to be Article 1. It has to pass by 2/3 majority.
Right, so we have to have everybody there. Excuse me, everybody there if we can.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Back to Canyon.
Yeah.
See, it's not really. Or what it grant from. Whoever that may be at this point. I forget.
Yeah, I couldn't remember who we're getting the grant from.
Okay.
That's right.
All right, and you may, should we spell out Gopher for the public?
Okay.
I think that'd be the best thing to do.
GOEFFER.
However it's spelled.
Governor's Office of,
Government Office of,
Yeah. No, awful word,
that's the
government.
governor.
Spell it out.
Gopher?
you got your phone?
Do have a phone.
There you go.
Yeah, mine, but I can't do all that weird stuff.
So it's the $850,000. We need to get the language from,
Governor's office, sorry.
but
Governor's office for emergency relief and recovery. GOFERR.
FFER.
He knows the name.
okay.
Governor's office of for emergency relief and recovery.
Because the $850,000 is not for replacing the culverts, and it's for designing and doing all the rest of it. So we need to get that language from Bergeron.
Right.
They wrote the grant, so that would,
You have a copy of the grant?
okay.
Get that, clean that up.
Okay.
So you're not gonna vote on that one until it's cleaned up. Transfer station capital reserve fund.
Okay. I just looked at that. There's $50,000 currently in that reserve fund. I'm gonna make a proposal that we make this article for 50,000.
I'll second for discussion.
And okay, I think the wording needs to change to reflect last year's warrant article. The purpose of purchasing and equipping equipment for the transfer station.
What warrant article was that?
That was Article 13.
So bucket loader would go away.
Yeah.
And you'd like to reduce it to 50, which I seconded for discussion.
That gives him $100,000 to go looking for a loader.
Right.
100,000 to what?
Look for a loader if he wants one.
Yeah,
You could find one for 100,000.
Yeah.
yeah.
Used, of course.
Well,
Well,
he needs to work a little on the price. 175 is pretty much nice. We still have, I think, and we need to look at that as well, a small amount of grant money still kicking around. We haven't spent all of it. We got. So if we need like another 25 grand, we probably.
right, because it was, that one grant was for infrastructure, almost anything.
Yeah.
This would be considered the infrastructure. So we're gonna reduce that to 50,000 and change the wording.
Right, to more accurately resemble Article 13. So it would be to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $50,000 to add to the capital reserve fund established for the purchasing of equipment, purchasing and equipping equipment for a transfer station.
Number 13.
Yeah. Naming the board of selectmen's agents to expend.
Do we want to vote on that before we see revised wording? Or are we going to?
Yeah,
We can do it, we can vote.
You could reduce the impact of taxation by setting up a transfer fund. So that the funds from the transfer station go into their own account, and then when they accumulate, that
We
way,
aren't doing that again, though.
why?
Well, personally, I think it's a bad idea, but we haven't voted on it, so we aren't doing it. I think it's a bad idea to impact the revenue. Where are you gonna come up with the other $100,000 on the revenue sheet when you're doing this calculation on the back page? It's gonna go missing. And it's just gonna be accumulating in some fund, which you really can't reflect as revenue. It's a revenue, you know, it's like the Parks and Rec thing. I mean, I'm not certain it's a distinction with a difference, because we take the revenue in and we expend it in the form of warrant articles or whatever we're doing.
But the taxpayers aren't seeing these warrant articles every year as numbers. But I heard you have a roof, you have a bucket loader, you have a scale, you have a lot of projects. And the revenue from that they,
But that becomes the argument for funding the warrant article. I mean, that's what Chris was missing in his argument. Just because you bring income in doesn't mean you get to spend it. It means you get to tell the voters that you actually are offsetting your costs by bringing this revenue. I mean, that's always been our way.
After further consideration of the possibility, I came to the conclusion that until the transfer station can bring in enough revenue to have it positive in the year end and actually totally offset their budget, then I'm not inclined to go with a warrant article to allow them to keep their revenues.
Well, it hasn't,
Nor am I inclined to even discuss it.
it's not until March, and then by God. It's not one of our warrant articles. It would have to be, would have to create that.
Do it.
And we haven't done that.
Nor am I inclined. So, moving on.
Did we vote yes
Are
on
we
50?
going to vote yes on this $50,000? I make the motion.
I'll second.
With Chip's wording,
Yes.
it's already been motioned and seconded.
Okay.
All right. Aye.
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 Highway Facilities Capital Reserve Fund. This town will vote to appropriate some $100,000 to establish a highway facilities capital reserve fund. The sum to come from taxation. Now, I believe that we had talked last night of reducing that to $50,000.
Correct.
So if we change that. With that change, I'm all set with the way this is worded. Any comment on that? I'll make a motion. Now we accept that with the
I'll
change.
second.
And any further comment on that? All in favor?
Aye.
The land purchase.
So we need to change the $55,000 to $65,350. And then add the language of,
I do, and if you wanna hold off, I'll reword it.
okay.
So we'll hold off on
45 from L-chip and then 25 from taxation.
well, if we don't get the L-chip grant, then it's gonna be all from taxation. That has to be somehow worked in there.
Well, or we're gonna buy a property.
Right. Okay.
So we need to figure out what we're gonna tell Carl.
Well, he knows that nothing will happen until after town meeting.
Right, but maybe nothing will happen at all if we decide not to
Right.
have all the money.
Well, I think we should purchase the land anyways, we're just hoping for land.
Right.
If we worded that,
So we could word it to say that we're application for a grant fund to,
to offset the expense.
yeah.
By 45, whatever it is, yeah.
I don't think L-chip makes decisions till like September,
Right,
even when you put your grant in March.
so. Yeah, we'd have to come up with some creative wording about, that's not gonna relieve the tax on the 65, but it's gonna relieve the expense.
Wait till the budget committee finalizes.
Right.
Is that, they still have one left to go?
Two.
Two.
And revenue.
And I'm gonna editorialize an opinion on that. While I'm not sure that waiting a week or two to contemplate these budgets is actually facilitating anything, other than one person may take 2 weeks to decide. If there's any crunch at the end of the year this year, I'm gonna lay it all on budget committee and the idea that they have to wait and wait and wait and mull this over, because I don't believe anybody's mulling anything over other than possibly one member. That's just my
A
opinion.
major dollar.
There's a couple of budgets that warrant, cooling off or digesting, so to speak. But there's no reason that a lot of the rest of the budgets could have been done at the
And I don't, yeah, we have no control over the structure,
Of course not.
so I'm not certain.
Just an opinion.
Yeah, it's just an opinion.
Mine as well, just an opinion.
Okay.
So we have to wait on the operating budget because we don't know what it is yet.
So, we have two meetings scheduled next week with the budget committee. They're also gonna be posted as selectmen's meetings. Is there any reason why we can't wrap this up, Monday or Tuesday night?
Other than the operating budget, and you can't do that till after they have the budget hearing, because public input may influence the budget.
It's a letter to go down to the places that it's going into.
That budget's not final until after the hearing,
Right.
and it can be modified at that budget hearing.
Yeah, it can.
It can.
I've never seen it happen. I've
Okay.
always had this
Well,
prior to that.
well, no, I'm just saying this,
I got it.
it's real.
Okay.
Heavy apparatus, capital reserve fund. Okay, this is where we're getting into the fire department stuff, and they're gonna just continue one, start another.
Okay. So we need to second.
This is the, what I would call the white pig, the elephant in the room. In my opinion.
What's it? Okay. Let's go on. Okay, so last year, Article 11, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $50,000 to establish an Engine 4 capital reserve fund for the purpose of purchasing and equipping a new fire truck as suggested by Capital Improvement Committee. Furthermore, to name the Board of Selectmen as agents to expend for the fund, from the fund. I'm thinking that, what was his at 200,000?
Yeah, 200,942. Got 201 for round figures.
Yeah. And we've got 50.
Right.
So we should change the 175 to 159.42.
Yeah, or 151. To add to the capital reserve established in 2023 for the purpose of purchasing Engine 4. That's what he's looking to do, right?
Well, actually, it looks like to me the way the option B is written is that, okay, we can enter into an agreement after we get the money. Yes, I see, yeah.
So I would only put it in the way, option B is for the 151,000. And
Okay,
then you have the 50,000 you can add to it. So,
so use option B as the word.
right,
Okay,
but you wouldn't be appropriating the 200, you'd be appropriating 151.
right,
Right.
okay,
So I don't think we need to discontinue.
right.
So then that heavy apparatus and the discontinued would be gone.
So I think the next discontinuance of Engine 4 capital reserve doesn't need to
No,
happen.
no.
No, it does need to go because we can draw on that.
And if the previous article doesn't pass, the 50 grand still sits there waiting.
Right. Yep, that seems good. And then if we go down the line further, what the chief has suggested that we do not do anything with the light apparatus capital.
Okay.
He wants to prioritize on replacing Engine 4, and he should know best about his light apparatus and equipment and everything. And then at the very bottom,
We didn't pass a light apparatus. Oh, I don't remember.
Oh, it was several years ago. Where's the CIP?
No, capital reserve, I don't remember that we actually.
we didn't have a light apparatus article, I don't believe.
No, I don't remember ever having.
No, it was for SCBA.
SCBA,
Which is different.
that's the air breathing apparatus that they
Right.
use when they go into a fire.
Right, but that would fall under the light apparatus capital reserve.
Right, but we don't,
So,
First,
yeah.
but we don't need it. He's told us flat out, don't do it, and I agree. We could just cross that one right off the list. So with a few changes, we've worked our way through the possible warrant articles. Audrey's gonna be very busy writing those up. She's promised to get them out to the budget committee. Chip is willing to,
Wait a minute, please. I didn't draft one for Parks and Rec because I wasn't
Oh.
sure about that,
sorry
so,
about that.
let's see.
I have,
He had,
Do you have language for
I
it?
have, yes. I have proposed language and we're gonna have to discuss it because we talked about some I had suggested that we use the words, to see if the town of Tuftonboro will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $20,000 for the design and engineering of recreational facilities at Tuftonboro Central Park to be presented to Tuftonboro voters at 2025 town meeting. This is a non-lapsing article. So, Parks and Rec had indicated that they think that there's confusion about that line, including to be presented to Tuftonboro voters at 2025 town meeting.
It's coming town meeting.
No, but the point, the intent, just let me be clear on intent, whether the wording is right or wrong, is to raise $20,000 this year, so we can do the design and engineering of what needs to be done, come up with a figure. That figure will be presented at the 2025 town meeting. The 2024 town meeting is only to raise the $20,000 so we can do the work in anticipation of bringing the presentation forward in 2025. So this will be a capital reserve, non-lapsing, with the selectmen as agents to expend.
So
What's the difference between an expendable trust fund and a capital reserve? Can it be a trust fund?
Well, the cemetery trustees have an expendable trust fund, which they can take money in at any point in time. They can spend the money at any point in time without going through the select.
Now, to add just information to this, the Parks and Rec Commission voted, not unanimously, I was a no vote, to take the money that they've appropriated or raised through donation so far, and that's the letter that you have, because they want to spend some money.
$6,000, the $12,000 project design.
Yes, but they want to pay 50%. It's a 50% deposit to get the engine, to get the guy going on the
So where's
design.
the $20,000 needed?
My point exactly. I think with the intent of this article, an additional intent of this article is to take the temperature of the voter to see if they want to proceed with doing any work, period, recreation-wise at Central Park. If this gets defeated, it's clear that the residents don't want to do it. But I voted no because I think you're giving the Parks and Rec Commission the ability to spend that money that they have raised already, which I think is somewhere around $18,000, I think that they've raised so far, in addition to the $20,000. So you, with the passing of this article, you're potentially giving them $38,000 for design. I got a problem with that. That's why I voted no on the expending of the donated money.
Well, I'm just running the numbers here. Can you give me one?
Of course. You have all day.
I know we
I'll
do.
be here well after that.
I'm fully in favor of asking for the $20,000 for design and engineering. And if it gets voted down, that's it. The money that was donated gets returned.
Or not, depending on the response to the letter that I read earlier. It's donors.
Right.
They did change the scope midstream, which is a bit of a
Right.
shock.
And one of my, and I brought that up as a concern, that these people donated money based on the original premise. And now that they're changing scope, we are changing scope midstream. Those people who donated should have every right to retract their donation if they so choose, hence the letter.
Which has been sent out. As I said, I received mine this morning.
Yeah.
Okay, real money last year, we had $1,012,000 $1,012,380 worth of taxable warrant articles.
Say that again, 1,000,000,
I'm sorry?
1,000,000.
I noted on the back
Yeah,
envelope, 1,012,380. And we voted on what we got here. And if you back out the stuff coming out of capital, out of undesignated funds, we're at 976,000. So we're about 40,000 short of last year. Good gross money.
Good.
So I just wanted to have that number to look at before I say I'm in favor of giving the parks about $20,000 park design to see if it
Makes perfect sense.
They're not gonna vote on a major capital project without a design.
No, and that's gonna be brought forward in 2025.
But if we're looking at what they told us, the design's gonna be in the $12,000-13,000 range.
12, yeah, 12.5, I think.
So the 20,000 wouldn't be for design. If they're gonna spend it out of their money they've already raised.
Well,
I wrote this before they voted to spend money out of their donations.
I think we're moving outside of the area of this number equals this number and getting into the area of what's gonna make this project, or what's gonna make our Parks and Rec department happy with our participation.
Mhm.
And
I think our participation is getting the warrant article written to take the temperature of the residents, see if they want this to go forward.
We're comfortable with this. $10,000 better than 15? I don't.
5,000 is even probably reasonable number, because if you take the money that they vote, like I said, I wrote this before they voted on their donations. So they fully believe that they can get this ball rolling with the money that they have. So I would say $5,000 would even be adequate.
Provided that the donors, or at least some of them, don't want their money back.
Correct.
If every donor wanted his money back, they have nothing.
Then that's where the 20,000 comes in. Or,
Well, they have certainly made this job a little more complicated.
yes, that's why I voted no on taking the donated money. It should have just been a warrant article, period.
It should have been. And I've got a funny money opposed to $5,000 warrant articles. What do I get? $10,000 you got me. 9,000.
I'll go with 10.
I'll go with it too, because I want the people to be able to decide whether they want this project to go forward or not, wherever the money comes from.
Right, so let's call it 10,000. Now we have to create the wording.
It can be in a trust fund with the selectmen agents to expend. Trust funds are more for maintenance and operation of the town for a distinct purpose, where CRF is more land acquisition, a reval, extraordinary legal. It's more for capital projects, like buying a backhoe. Here you're just doing some operational.
Well,
Creating a park.
It's design.
I definitely believe that this is a capital reserve.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna reduce that to 10,000.
With the selectmen and agents.
Yes.
So, to see if and this is rough draft wording, I need some help polishing it up. To see if the town of Tuftonboro will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $10,000 for the design and engineering of recreational facilities at Tuftonboro Central Park.
Do you want to use the word toward the design?
Sure. Sure, yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Do you want to, do they have a quote?
They have a quote for design of the bike stuff.
So,
Engineering is going to be minimal, but we need to pay somebody to tell us that we don't need to do any.
so selectmen are gonna expend it, then you wanna see the bids.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So they can't just jump into an agreement with this guy with
Right.
their money.
They want to, they essentially are. The Parks and Rec has voted to hire him, but we didn't authorize it without
Right.
having a funding source.
Right.
So, okay, so let me start again. To see if the town of Tottenham Borough will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $10,000 toward the design and engineering of recreational facilities at Tottenham Borough Central Park. Additionally, I think we need to put intent in there that that somehow spells out that the design and engineering of this project will allow us to come up with pricing for the project to be presented at future town meeting.
Because we asked for $30,000 for the design and engineering of a solar array, we didn't mention the fact that it's gonna be, to continue on with anything. I didn't find it again, I thought
I
it was
was planning to add some descriptive language between each warrant article,
okay.
put it in that.
Because Article 10 said, to see if we would raise and appropriate $30,000 for the permitting, engineering, and design of a 100 kW solar electric generation facility. And that's all we said. We didn't say that God allows for a warrant article, it's not necessarily
All right.
necessary.
It's unnecessary. So, toward the design and engineering of recreational facilities at Tottenham Central Park. Forget anything I said about 2025 town.
Scratching some more.
I got it, I think. So I think we're gonna come up with $327,000 overall. That I
Okay,
Are we jumping around?
yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry. Don't listen to me.
Okay.
Should got
It was. So this is a so how do we proceed?
If it's a capital reserve fund, it's there.
Yeah,
And,
I'm working.
and non-lapsing
Capital
with the
reserve.
selectmen as agents to
Couple
expend,
lapses.
however it needs to be.
They have to be discontinued, not lapsed.
Yeah, 327.
It's kind of weird, but, yeah. You're getting your point across it.
Okay?
You gonna give me that piece of paper?
How much in revenue we'll have of it.
Yes, we will have. We always do. Yep.
Do we vote it?
Do you
Are we
want-
voting on that, or do you wanna?
I mean,
Let it write that up.
okay, how about, Wolf Bar Parks and Rec, 16,000?
We don't have enough information yet. We have no agreement with them, do we?
Nope.
When are you supposed to be?
I'm actually, working on it. I was gonna read more, because I found an agreement that between East San Franconia and Sugar Hill. I talked to, who did I talk to? I talked to Primex, and we can do like a, memorandum of understanding, not really a contract, and,
An MOU's binding, right?
pardon?
That's binding, right?
Yeah. So I have some outline language, and I think our Parks and Rec has to be more mature before it could be like
Before they can,
reciprocal.
before-
Like we could
yeah.
charge them or take something off the bill or,
or self-fund,
yeah.
I don't think we should change anything until we have a new agreement.
Okay.
I think we should leave it status quo until we know what direction we're going.
So that money would come out of Dennis's budget.
I'm trying to find that budget right now. There's so many pages here that our administrative assistant has given us. I'm working towards that. I'm pretty sure we still included it,
We did,
in a manner of speaking, by splitting the two,
the way we did last year.
and it will still be there. But
But you've already expended some of the line, but because one of them is assistants and you told Dennis to go ahead and give $1,500.
now I couldn't even find the budget, so that doesn't work.
Well, they're in numerical order, aren't they?
No. They did not approve those numerical orders. I didn't put them in my book numerical.
It's not even numerical order.
Well, the ones I gave you were.
We had to wait so long
I gave you a full
to get
set.
anything approved by the budget committee. I don't have it. By the way, we left it in the budget because we had no verification of anything at that time. So the money's still there. And when we come up with an agreement and possibly a better accounting, we can pay the bill. However, you're working on that. And what's that?
Well, we have to, I guess we're gonna make it a warrant for this year.
Well, you talked about it, so I just been keeping a list.
If it's in the budget, I don't think we need to.
I don't think it's really in the budget. You have one line item in the budget for $8,000.
No, the line right below it is
Right.
$8,661.
Which you spent some of,
Yes,
so,
we don't care about that.
but it's to assist Tucton Borough kids.
That's right. And by paying Wolfboro, we are assisting Teutonburg kids.
Or adults, yeah.
Yes, so that, those two lines are the old 16,000,
Right.
which means the money is in the budget for this year. We've spent some of it already, that's fine. But we have no idea what the charge for that should actually be until we get a bill from Wolfboro, in which case you're trying to at least knock out some kind of system where we can have a better accounting of what's going on. Am I not correct?
You are correct,
You are
but
correct.
except for,
But
Yeah,
Dennis has to realize that $1,500 that we authorized comes out of his budget somewhere. He can't overspend. He's already taken out $1,500.
why was the Wolfboro line broken into two in the first place?
Because, I think because Dennis wanted more control over that money.
And leverage. The year before, we only spent 8,000, so a little less than that.
Yeah.
Multiple.
They didn't run the program.
You know, the break.
All right,
And I don't blame him. He should have more control over his money. But we have yet to see a
I
plan.
know, I like Chip's idea of taking it out of his budget.
Yeah, even if we put another budget together or put it into some other category, we need to take it out of Parks and Rec, because it just causes. Or we can make it a warrant article every year.
Well, it's in my research. When we started paying them $500, it's because it's gone up over the last few decades.
Mhm.
But when I add the numbers up, it always has come out of the Parks and Rec budget.
Right.
We can take it out of we can remove it from that budget and create a separate line item. But this year, we've already approved that money in the Parks and Rec budget, in those two lines.
We did.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
The money's there, minus $1,500.
So we'd have to go back.
It would have to be next year.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be next year, because we have to do we're running short of time with our budget committee to get all this shit done. And still have it in the board. So I think maybe we'll just leave it alone.
Run it out there. What do you think of taking the cap off the, amount that the Conservation Commission gets out of the current use change tax?
When they run for office, we'll increase the cap.
No, I said take it off and
Okay,
increase
when they
it.
run for office, we'll take the cap off.
Which office? The
To be
select.
conservation commissioners. I'm not gonna, and this is just me speaking, I'm not gonna speak to my friends. I'm not gonna let unelected committees have tons of money that they can use wherever they want. without any oversight from the elected people, that the people put in charge. I don't believe in that stuff. They can say it's all for good quality purposes, but the minute they get 100% of the land use change tax, now they got a big bank account, they can buy whatever they want.
I didn't say 100%.
Well, that's what they're looking
So take the cap off,
Right.
that sounds like 100% to me, if there's no cap.
No, they would still only get 50% of the land use change tax, but right now it's capped at 10,000.
Yeah.
So if someone was to take out a huge amount, they potentially wouldn't even get 50%.
Right.
That's fine with me, because then that money goes into the revenue side of our equation. And if they need money, they can have it. They need to come and ask.
I've had a great experience with the Conservation Commission in the last 3 years. With the present Conservation Commission. Going forward, it's like anything else, there's no telling what might happen, so I'm with Chip. If you need the money, they can come and ask.
The central controls over it. And, you know, there's no stopping us from allowing them to petition for a larger portion of a particular transaction. If there's some, it's conservationable, a word,
Conservable?
conservable purpose.
I'd like to remind the voters and the public that there is still an opportunity to submit a petition warrant article. I'm not sure of the deadline yet. I believe it's early in February. But as always, I consider that the citizens' code of last resort.
So, are we getting the town report together as well?
Yes.
Okay. Do we want to think about who we're going to dedicate it to?
I'm glad you brought that up.
And can we put Chairman Pike in charge of the photograph on the front? So,
I have no idea how to go about any of that.
the camera gives you a bunch of them.
Okay.
Maybe we can avoid having Hunter's portrait more than once every decade.
Cammy had an idea I thought I might pass by actually, because she has graphic skills, and taking the newest fire chief's vehicles and police vehicle and town highway truck, the 3 big capital expenses, and somehow put those into a collage, creative picture.
We need to get it done so that we can look at it, or I can look at it, someone can look at it and say, do it. Now, the dedication, on the other hand, I gotta think long and hard on that.
Yeah. I would, just because, I don't have a ton of recommendations, maybe, John Warner, who was, Melvin Raj, the other house next door. He was killed in a car crash last year, and he did a lot of silent philanthropy that none of us really know about, but I know he did a lot of silent philanthropy.
Well, we have a town tax collector who's been a dedicated servant of the town for decades, for example. We have a cemetery trustee chairman who also has served the town well in many capacities. We have a selectman who's not too far away from me. Who's well, you might get outvoted.
I also have
certainly hope so, because I kind of see that as the first step towards it.
We also have a former budget committee chairman who's recently retired and
Right.
moving away.
We have a moderator who served the town for
Is
decades.
that Gordon, the also librarian?
Yes. Actually, and again, we have a moderator that served the town for decades. And still up there serving, yeah. There's any number of possibilities there. We have to decide that. Do we have to do it today? We have to do it soon.
I just brought it up.
Okay,
Because-
think about it and let me know Monday.
Yeah.
And think about it together. I'd actually throw Gordon Hunt's name there.
I'm
Gordon Hunt.
It's moving out of town.
We know that.
I think he already moved.
Well, either way, but he served the town well in many capacities over the years, yeah. He's been on the budget committee and library trustees
And school board.
and school board, you're right. I'd go with Gordon, make that
All
decision.
right, make a motion.
I'd make a motion that we dedicate this year's town report to Gordon Hunt.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we can figure out his qualifications and everything.
Library budget and
School board, long time, a long time
And probably
service to the community.
Alex would be able to get a hold of a picture.
Yeah. His son,
Bradley's Hardware. It's their store. Why they left it the name Bradley, I don't know.
name Bradley. They probably bought the name Bradley as well. I don't care for Joe Bradley and Charlie Throne. There you go. Or it's done.
do you have any ideas of pictures for the front, or should I?
Just should, I can't put together some stuff. And
Yeah. Half a dozen things,
We're open to suggestions.
right?
throw it out there at the office.
Right off the top of my head,
Yeah, there's a bunch of photographers.
Phil Martin.
Yeah,
Phil Martin probably has a suggestion for a picture.
could ask you.
So I'm coming up with difference year to year on total amount of taxable money raised. I think somewhere between 194,000 and 327. So if we can come up in the 194,000, that's not bad.
Not bad at all.
3%.
That's basically just a one new hire at the fire department with benefits.
Or a rounding error.
True.
So are you all set with that income statement?
I'll find it out.
Okay.
I'll come back up and find you if I need it.
And we're gonna have an agenda for, next Monday, Tuesday, at the,
Yeah, we need to post that.
Right.
Yeah.
We're gonna do that, and you guys want to meet earlier?
Yeah, that'd be great if you met her.
Whatever time works for everybody, I am free and I will be free. I have dedicated my time to the town.
I'm free.
Are you adjourning?
I'm free.
I make a motion to adjourn this portion of the meeting.
I'll
All in
second.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
I am,
I don't know how to turn this thing.
I'm open.
You want to meet at 6? 6:30? I mean, we gotta be, I've gotta.
Well, the budget committee meeting starts at 6:30, so we should probably meet an hour ahead of time.